yes, we are on the eve of something very fun, something great. The 2025 NFL football season. It is Bears over Beers, powered by Second City Gridiron. I'm Ryan Drosty with my guy Bryan Orenchuk. Bryan, how you doing tonight?
Fantastic, man. 24 hours away before football. And we'll have to wait a little longer for our beloved to play, but it'll be worth the wait when we're the only ones playing on Monday night. So I'm stoked, bro. How about you?
Very excited. I mean, starting tomorrow night, basically 5 days straight of football. So I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about opening on Monday night? This is gonna be a long wait, man.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And typically I think I'm pretty disappointed, but it's one of those things where every other year after the Sunday games have played, which is awesome every year, week one. But then we have to wait till Monday night games, and it's all eyes are on Monday night, and how cool is it to see our favorite team, especially with all the new wrinkles and acquisitions and at home and against a revamped, younger in a lot of ways Minnesota Vikings rivalry. It's gonna be awesome to start the year. I'm grateful it's not a Packers. I feel like that's been played out. We'll talk about that, but I'm excited for the late season. It's almost like we're used to seeing them early every year, and now both our games going to be late, so that's going to have its own little allure to it. But I mean, at the end of the day, we've waited this long. What's another 36 hours or whatever it is to get our team on prime time? I'm stoked, man.
Yeah, I mean, this go one of two ways. I mean, obviously, we're very excited for the start of this season, like all Bears fans. We see a fun season ahead. I can think of different times we've opened in prime time where it's gone really well, or at least maybe it started really well. At least I should say that. Maybe not gone really well, but started very well. And other times where it was just a massive disappointment, like that Thursday night opener against the Packers in 2019. What a downer. Didn't even score a touchdown at home after that great 2018 season. I've talked about how back in, I think it was 96, great memory from childhood when they opened on Monday night against the Cowboys and won, like the dynasty Cowboys in 96, and we beat them. It seemed like it was going to be a really fun year, and then it wasn't, but it was a memorable opener to the season. And then, other seasons like 06, we open with a noon game against the Packers, absolutely stomp them, and it's a Super Bowl season. So, yeah, who knows? I hope that, in recent years, we've had so many primetime games that have been embarrassments to our team that has been rebuilding now, seemingly for so long, that hopefully we can get the whole nation to see something really fun, really exciting, and get people off our backs a little bit. This team never gets any respect. No matter what Caleb Williams does, he can never do anything right to some people, so I hope he goes out. Ben Johnson's first game with the Bears has an outstanding game and quiets all the haters out there.
Yeah, I think as a team, we're going to see a much improved product. We've been seeing glimpses in training camp, especially in the joint practices, with our physicality, with our attention to detail. I think we're going to see some more of that. However, I would ask any Bears fan to temper expectations a little bit when it comes to Caleb, as far as him really flowing with Ben. I think that's going to take until at least after the bye. So week 6, really the second month of the season, I feel like is when we'll start hitting our stride. So don't be disappointed if we come away with a win, much like we did last year, right? It was Caleb's rookie season home opener, and we won that game against a not so good Titans team, but we won. And so if we come away with a win, especially against a division rival on prime time, I'd be thrilled, but I don't necessarily expect fireworks. I expect more of a physical game, a pounding, run the game, pound it game. But I do think there's much to be said about Ben's approach to scaling it back now that the season's here and giving Caleb what he needs. Plus, Ben's history against Brian Flores is also pretty impressive. So it's going to be an interesting chess match all the way around. But I just think Caleb's not going to quite hit his stride yet. So he'll probably still have haters. He's still going to have some haters, even with the win, but, if you watch the game closely enough through and through, you're going to see some wow plays by him with his arm. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, best case scenario, he just goes balls out and has just an unreal game. Probably not going to happen, but I think it will be quite a bit better than what we saw last year, that game against the Titans that you mentioned. I
Yeah.
was at that game, and it's not the most fun game to watch from the stands. I mean, that first half was absolutely horrendous, and we saw
Yeah.
some things in that game that plagued the Bears all season long
Right.
with being unable to stop the run.
Yep.
You know, I'm pumped for the whole team. Obviously, like we've been talking about here in the offseason, Dennis Allen, what's he can do with this defense, and we're gonna get to more on the Bears and the Vikings and their history in recent years and in the 2000s. Did a little research on this to kind of jog my memory of where this rivalry has been and where it has not been over the last few years, Brian. But before we get to that, this is Bears over beers after all. So
about time, bro.
Yeah.
What's taking me so long?
Let's get some beer in the glasses, my friend. What are you drinking tonight?
Oh boy, I'm excited about this one. This is.
Hold on, let me make you full screen. Let me see if I can do this here.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Optimum Triple IPA.
Oh yeah.
It's 2025 appearance. I thought it was appropriate given our first show on this season. Sierra Nevada, local brewery. You've heard of it before from California. There's also in Colorado where I lived, and now there's also a brewery here in Asheville, North Carolina. If you ever make it to Asheville, any of you, the brewery's near the airport. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. And also, you got to shout out to this sweet bottle opener. This is from my cousin. He's a Steelers fan. We love him anyway. Yeah, check this bottle opener out. If you are a beer connoisseur, you got to appreciate a nice bottle opener. I'm big into medieval times and nice little bottle opener. But this is the crown jewel of the night. Got to go full screen again. You can hopefully get these soon on a website near you. And it matches my shirt, as you might
look at that.
see. We are bringing out the big guns this season. And I've already given Ryan crap for not donning his shirt, but he's got something special. Show us what you got tonight when you're drinking.
So I have a shirt too, obviously, but I was like, I bet Brian's going to be wearing the shirt. And if we match and we're like twins, well, people think that's weird. So I didn't wear mine, but I do have the glass. And yeah, like you said, here's the glass again. I'm hoping we can get these available for the listeners. So, drop us a note on social at Bears Over Beers or here in the comments on YouTube. Let us know if you'd like to get one of these glasses. I'm also hoping to do maybe some giveaways here on the streams this year, just incentive for you guys to catch us live on YouTube. Yeah. So if you're interested, let us know. I am talking to our bosses over at Second City Gridiron about making them available, but that maybe even the shirt too, Brian, maybe get that available. But more to come on that as the season goes on. Exciting things happening. But Optimum, great beer. I haven't had that in a long time, but that is solid.
Oh, yeah. And it reminded me of the hopium that us Bears fans are feeling at the start of the season. So had to go with that, and I'm excited for it. What are you drinking, man?
I got kind of a tie-in like that, too, with weird wordplay. Here's what I got. I've got from Lua Brewing, which I know JB will appreciate because this is a Des Moines, Iowa brewery, kind of Hawaiian-themed brewery. It is Tiny Beam of Light Hazy Pale Ale. It's got Citra, which is my favorite kind of hop. Yeah, because I felt like Tiny Beam of Light. We see a ray of light coming from this team, Brian, and hopefully,
yeah, but it's pretty large. It's pretty large and in charge. It's not tiny unless you're the most doom and gloom fan there is, which we have some of them at Windy City Gridiron.
We do,
but I can dig it, man. It's definitely tempered expectations and hopium. That's what we're rolling with.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my expectations in check a little bit. In fact, I took a screenshot, Brian, of the night we did the schedule release show. I mean, minutes after the schedule dropped, and with Jacob, we did our predictions. We're going to revisit that later in the show here and see if your mind has changed at all, or at least recap what we were thinking at the time. But for now, let's put the Bears Over Beers glasses up. Cheers, my friend. Cheers to 2025.
Oh, that's delicious.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. That is good stuff.
Yeah.
So, we were talking earlier, Brian, about what we wanted to have on the agenda tonight. And I kind of had the mindset of it's going to be a pretty free-flowing show because, as we get back into these weekly podcasts now in the season, mostly weekly. I don't know what we'll do bi-week. We'll have to see and around the holidays. But for the most part, we're going to be with you every single Wednesday night now again during the season. Brian and I with some guests here and there. And usually the weekly shows, we kind of got the agenda for us. We kind of recap the last game and we look ahead to the next game. But here tonight, a little more free flowing. We're going to hit the NFC North, the new look NFC North, how things are going to be different this year. We're going to talk about that new edge rusher up in Green Bay a little bit. But first, yeah, let's recap or continue talking more, I should say, about the Vikings game on Monday night. So, Bryan, I know when we did our preview show, I think all of us chalked this one up as a win. I do think it is close to a toss-up game. The reason I'm giving the Bears the edge is it's at home. We got a more experienced quarterback, JJ's first game in his hometown from the Chicago area. It's got a lot of family there, primetime lights, a lot of pressure on JJ McCarthy. And, for me, I got to give it to the Bears just because, Caleb has the edge here. I do think it's going to be a close game, a very close game like these Bears-Vikings games usually are. I believe the odds have the Vikings as a 1.5 point favorite last I saw. So, I mean, odds makers are right there with this being a toss-up too. But I am sticking with the Bears just like I did on schedule release night. How are you feeling?
Same here. I will say, as far as JJ McCarthy is concerned, he has that clutch factor.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about him showing up. I think he's going to show up. But you said it first. We have the more experienced quarterback. So is there going to be enough time in all 4 quarters for him to overcome some of the challenges that he faces from a Dennis Allen defense, from the talent level of our really every level of our defense? We'll get to our edge opposite Montez Sweat at some point for sure. But I think JJ is a solid quarterback. He just didn't play all last year, right? He was hurt. So I'm still chalking up to a win. I will say I am increasingly concerned about Jalen Johnson and the health of our secondary. Kyler Gordon's back at practice, full speed. Jalen was at practice today as well, but he's been out for 6 weeks. His physical conditioning is not going to be where it even should be for week 1. So when you are going to be matched up against arguably the best wide receiver in the game in Justin Jefferson, and you're not 100%, that could lead to some problems. So I'm kind of expecting not as much man coverage for Jalen this week for, kind of a group effort, bracket coverage type situation between our corners and our safeties. And I think that's really that if nothing else, that kind of made me lean a little bit more towards a Vikings win because they can. I know they don't have Jordan Addison, but that's huge. But they have the best receivers still. If they can take advantage of our secondary, then they can keep up with us in the point game. Now, I think it's going to be ground and pound both sides. I think the Vikings are really going to lean on the run as well. So it's going to be an interesting old school black and blue. I think everybody's going to expect all these fireworks, Kevin O'Connell, Ben Johnson, first round draft picks at quarterback. It's going to be a run the football, stop the run game, in my opinion. But I still think we come out with a win for the reasons you said. But I feel like as Bears fans, we're used to storybooks happening against us like this, where JJ McCarthy's got his family at Soldier Field and he breaks out a miraculous win against us in his opening start.
Oh man, don't start.
No,
Let's not have that happen.
I could see that happening, but I don't think it will. I think we've added too much talent. I think our coaches are going to be, more influential, throughout the game at halftime, especially to overcome. I just think our team is built right finally, and I think we're going to see that Monday night.
I have a few counters to what you said there, but mostly, I agree. Now, obviously, JJ McCarthy has been in some big games in college at Michigan. Caleb, also had a lot of big games, and still he struggled in that first game. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him have a big game. We've talked about this in the show many times. I have so much respect for Kevin O'Connell. I think he's a top 3 coach in the NFL, and I'm sure he's going to get everything out of JJ he possibly can. He's going to have a great game plan. And I agree with what you said about, it could end up being a game where they're relying on pounding the rock and rushing the ball. Then I heard a stat today from Adam Johns. I got to give credit, Adam Johns from CHGO, that really surprised me about the Vikings and running the ball, because I thought, it could be a situation where maybe they don't want to put too much on McCarthy and they rely on running the ball against the Bears. Here's two stats about the Vikings under Kevin O'Connell when it comes to rushing the ball. Okay, 27th in the league in rushing attempts, 29th in the league in yards per carry under Kevin O'Connell. That stunned me when I heard that. 29th in the league in yards per carry rushing the ball under Kevin O'Connell. So if they do rely on running the ball more than passing it, I think that the numbers say it might help the Bears. And we've said we've got the edge with, the quarterback right now, at least having more experience. He's been in these situations in the NFL now. And that gives me a little more confidence in the Bears. I agree with you. I'm worried about Jalen because those soft tissue injuries can linger. He hasn't practiced all preseason. He was out there today. I'm certainly a little concerned, more than a little concerned about the left tackle situation too. But I also feel like we've upgraded the interior of the line, that should help out, playing next to Joe Thuney. I hope Braxton does well out there, but he's got a lot of pressure on him too. So a little worried about protecting Caleb's blind side. But yeah, I just feel like overall there's little elements of this game that should tip it in the favor of the Bears, despite it is pretty much a toss-up game. I think when we go up to Minneapolis, it's gonna be a tough game to win. But I got to go with the Bears.
So I don't discount what you said about O'Connell in the run game for Minnesota, but they didn't play us every game last year.
Yeah.
And when they did play us, Aaron Jones averaged almost 5 yards a carry both games.
Mm-hmm.
And they had Cam Akers, who, when he had more than 3 carries, he only averaged 2.4 yards a carry. Well, in comes Jordan Mason, who's signed a 2-year, $10.5 million contract as a backup tailback. So he is going to get his chunk plays. He's going to spell Aaron Jones better than anyone that has yet in Minnesota. I think he could end up being the guy in a year or two as well. So they've got a two-headed monster now that people are not really talking about, that I think is going to lead the charge here. But the counter to that is what we have done to our interior defensive line. And then obviously on offense, conversely, on our interior offensive line. So I think it's going to be a ground and pound. Aaron Jones has been doing too much damage to us over the years as a Packer and now Viking, where I think he's one of the most underrated backs in the league personally. He is getting older though. And so then they bring in Jordan Mason, who I think is going to be a factor Monday night, to say the least.
Yeah. So, I thought we could also talk here a little bit about the history of Bears Vikings, at least in the 21st century. I want to go back to 1960 or anything here, but I had kind of forgotten, Bryan, how dismal we have been against the Vikings lately, because it seemed for a long time like the Bears would pretty much always win when they played them in Chicago. We go up to Minneapolis, we'd struggle to win there. But let me see if I can put this up on the screen, because I was taking some screenshots earlier and it did not save here in studio. So let me try this. Yeah. This is the history of Bears Vikings since 2018. And, the win-loss on the left, that's from the Bears' perspective. And you can see that in the last 8 games, the Chicago Bears have only won once. It was in Minnesota, that game, Monday night game, a couple of years ago, near the end of the season. Otherwise, the Vikings have been dominant in this series the last 5 years or so, 4 or 5 years. It seems like both teams kind of go on these runs when you look at the history. Like before that, the Bears were pretty dominant. They won 5 out of 6 before that stretch. And so I was like, why am I remembering the Bears just always winning for the most part at Soldier Field? Because we actually haven't beat them at Soldier Field since 2019, which, Bryan, I don't go to a ton of games. I was at that game too. And I remember that game in 2019, early in the year. I think it might have been week 3 or 4, because Trubisky got injured on the first drive. And me and my dad were at that game, and I looked at him like, oh, of course, we're going to lose. But Chase Daniel came in, and he played a really good game, like 100+ passer rating. Bears won the game 16-6. Dalvin Cook didn't have a very good game that day. But yeah, I mean, I looked back further in the history, going back to 2000. Bears lost to the Vikings in 2000 by 12 points, but then they went, and this is just the Soldier Field games, went on a 6-year winning streak. They didn't lose again to the Vikings at home until 2007. Do you remember why that game was notable?
You're not showing it on the screen right now.
No,
You're saying which
in
game?
07, 2007.
And that was in
Soldier Field.
Okay.
It has to do with a running back. Adrian Peterson ran for 224 yards in that game, his rookie year against the Bears.
Oh my God.
And we lost 31-34. So that stopped a 6-game Bears winning streak at Soldier Field. And then after 07 and that loss, which is a close loss, 3 points, the Bears won 7 years straight at Soldier Field from 08 through 2014, 7 games. They didn't lose to the Vikings again at Soldier Field until 2015 in a 3-point game. They lost in 2017 at Soldier to the Vikings, another 3-point game. And then, as you see on the screen here, from 2020 through 2024, the Vikings have won every single game at Soldier Field, but they've all been really close, like 6 points, 8, 1 16-point game in 2022, and the Bears were bottoming out. But then 6 points last year, overtime, 3 points, right? So it looks like it's close to swinging back in the Bears' favor, but yeah, I mean, the Bears are 15-9 in Chicago against the Vikings in the 2000s. And, before this stretch of, 5 games in a row that they've lost to the Vikings at home, it was 15-4. So, historically speaking, the Bears have been pretty successful in Chicago at Soldier Field against the Vikings. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, those stats make me feel even more confident that we're going to win on Monday night for some reason.
Yeah, we got the only person in our chat right now is a Vikings fan. Where are our Bears fans at? But Viking Jerome says, I just hope the Bears stadium turf is playable. That's the thing, is they actually have kind of fixed the turf in recent years. It's been holding up late into the year. They finally seem to have gotten the turf monster under control, and I'm sure it'll look pretty good. Now, they've had some big concerts there in recent weeks, which sometimes hurts things, but
it's a valid concern.
It is, for sure. But it seems like the grounds crew has done a much better job in recent years. And if they don't, I'm sure Ben Johnson will be giving them an earful.
Yeah.
But I will take the Bears. And we'll see. We'll be talking about it next week here on the show. Guys, before we go any further, we're going to stop for a word from one of our new sponsors this year. And that is none other than the good folks over at DraftKings. So Game On Week 1 starts now, and every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This isn't just football, Brian. It's first touchdown fireworks, anytime TD rushes, and live bets that ride every momentum shift. At DraftKings, every play is your next shot to win. Speaking of Bears Vikings, now the odds are subject to change, but as of Wednesday night, like we said, the Bears are a 1.5-point underdog to the Vikings. The over-under is set at 43.5. You can check all of the latest updated odds with the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And your season starts now. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and you can use code GRIDIRONPOD. That's GRIDIRONPOD to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
All right, Brian. let's get back to it. Which direction do you want to take the show here? Unless you have any other thoughts on the Vikings before we move forward.
Shout out to a Vikings fan. I actually know some Vikings fans, and some good people. I am shocked that they actually own the series advantage 68-58-2 against us. But I do think that's going to change. We have our Kevin O'Connell, and we'll see come Monday night. But yeah, I think it's going to be ground and pound, black and blue division, which brings into some questions. I mean, let's talk about our health, right? Like,
real quick, let me shout out some Minnesotans too, because I also, I don't really have the hatred for the Vikings that I do our other neighbors up north. I
agree.
My wife's from Minnesota. My co-host over on Top Rope Nation, Jesse, lives in Minneapolis. Big Vikings fan. I'm trying to get to a game at US Bank Stadium. I have never been there yet. I'm only 3 hours away. Would love to get up there. Maybe
it's
this
like
year.
A top 3 rated stadium experience for people.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go for a long time, but I've kind of been waiting for the Bears to turn it around first, so I know it's going to be a decent game. So yeah, if my buddy Jesse can get me tickets, and he was at that Monday night game the Bears won 2 years ago, and he was in a luxury box. And I'm like, man, if you can pull that off again, and whichever friend you have that got you in that box at US Bank Stadium, invite me next time. So we will see. But yeah, I love Minnesota. I'm from Iowa. Minnesota's a great state. I don't really have any bad blood for the Vikings. I hope it's a good game. And more often than not in recent years, I'm not going to say it's not a rivalry, but when the Bears have not been good, which has been a lot, and in most years until recently, the Lions have also been down. I'm like, well, you know what? I'd rather have it be the Vikings than the Packers winning the NFC North, So
agreed.
That's kind of how I've always felt about the Vikings. And, I think when we go up to Minneapolis, I'll probably be picking the Vikings to win that game, unless we're just having a blowaway season to that point in time. Pretty much a toss-up, but I got the Bears in a close one. I do think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, we have them November 16th at Mini after a home game against the Giants. And before we go at home again against the Steelers. Yeah, we'll see. It's gonna depend on our health. It's gonna depend on how Caleb, is handling Ben's offense. But yeah, shout out to the Vikings fans. You guys are classy people from what I have experienced as well.
All right, let's hit the health point you're gonna bring up. Sorry to interrupt.
No, all good. So the health in a ground and pound game without adding too many running backs this offseason, really any but one in Kyle Monangai. And then you have Britton Brown, but, who is he? I think that's going to be a concern. Roschon Johnson was not spotted at practice when the media could report today. He's been my expected kind of touchdown leader, at least to start the season. If he's not going to be there, some of that ground and pound is going to be out, because you can't really ground and pound too much with DeAndre Swift, 5'8", 205.
Yeah.
So that's going to be critical. You might end up seeing a lot more of Monangai, or as we've seen in practice, DJ Moore in the backfield. But, I wasn't sounding the alarm all summer with our health, but now we're practice week. Jalen's got his first practice reps in today. As I already mentioned, my concern there. Roschon wasn't there. We haven't even talked about the left tackle position for us this episode, but that's going to be an ordeal. Now, granted, Braxton's a better run blocker than he is pass blocker, but also our offensive line. Like, what is the one consistent thing with any offensive line to be successful? Continuity and time clocked. We haven't had that. This is game one. So it'll be interesting. There are a lot of factors that I could see going either way. But I am a little bit concerned about our health. 2 key players on one on each side, with Jalen, who's arguably our most important position on defense against the Vikings, and Roschon Johnson, who I expect to be an integral part of our offensive attack, especially week one. So that's going to be interesting is do they end up rolling with Britton Brown, or does Monangai get the nod? Do they bring someone else in or promote, or, bring in a guy like Royce Freeman, or I don't know, but the health is starting to be a concern of mine for sure.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the health of a team will destroy even a good team's season, and you hate to see key guys out week one. I kind of felt all summer like, it won't matter. Jalen will be fine, but like it lingered and it lingered, and he finally gets there on the practice field today. I mean, high level player, obviously, arguably probably our best player on defense. And we have a strong secondary, but as you said earlier, we need Jalen to be on Jefferson. We need his talents there. So it's worrisome for sure. With Braxton and what's been going on with the left tackle position, like I said earlier, and his health, that is concerning. I think the rest of the O line is super talented, and so I'm not, as concerned about the rest of the line. I think they'll hold up well, but the left tackle has been the point of concern all summer. We had this kind of competition, and it doesn't seem like anyone really went out and won it.
Yeah.
So, I think we all had. I think we talked about it the last time we were on the pod here when training camp was starting. We all kind of envisioned maybe even Ozzie winning that position, and then as things got underway, he's more suited for the right side, it seems like, and then you're hoping that Theo can maybe step up, and then Braxton, is he all the way healthy, and just problems galore. I hope Braxton can go out there and quiet the doubters, but that's a concern. Obviously, everything you said about running back, it's been on offense outside of left tackle, the one area we've been concerned about. We talked about it in our pre-draft shows, how much we wanted the Bears to pick somebody in the first couple of rounds at running back, and it didn't happen. And then we kind of sold ourselves on, well, Roschon's look decent when he's in there. Can he come back and maybe even overtake Swift? And, he hasn't been that guy yet. So
he's not been healthy. Early in camp, he was, when we talked with Taylor Dahl about camp and our expectations for the year, Roschon was healthy. He was showing up every practice. He was scoring touchdowns. And then he got injured and he's not been back. And so it's disappointing. I think this is where the luxury pick of a tight end in round one is going to come into play.
Mm-hmm.
One of Colston Loveland's biggest or most underrated attributes is his ability to block in line and in space. And I think you're going to have 12 personnel with both him and Cole Kmet in a lot this game to try to control those edges and also give them, more flexibility in the pass game. It's going to be fascinating to see how Ben Johnson deploys our offense this year, this game against Flores. With all that said, there's so many different ways you can go about it. I feel like so often as Bears fans, we've known what an offensive coordinator should do, only to see Shane Waldron do completely the opposite, or Matt Nagy throw Justin Fields into the wolves against the Browns. Like, the obvious is not so obvious apparently. So I'm really excited to see how Ben, compensates for that left tackle position. And again, I think we're going to compete this year. I would love to look at, I'm glad you brought that up, our schedule prediction. I would love to look at that. I think we're going to compete for playoff spot this year still, but next year I feel like is going to be the year where we will, compete for beyond. But the health is going to be key, and the chess match about, offense versus defense, Ben versus Flores is going to be huge. Did you hear or see any of Ben's press conference today?
I saw a couple of quotes, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, he made a comment that I thought was fascinating. I think it was him. It might have been Caleb, but it was basically like we're not going to get any, like, I forget what he called it, but like rest plays or reset plays. Like every play, they're going to have to be on their P's and Q's to combat Flores's, blitz happy defense. And so with that said, I don't think we're really going to get a feel for what Ben wants to do as a coordinator until next week, because you got to, almost be playing offense and defense all together at the same time when you're playing against Flores. So it's going to be a fascinating chess match. I think these two guys have a lot of respect for each other. And yeah, I mean, if we can stay healthy and if Braxton can hold up, that's the thing too. You mentioned earlier, has he been healthy?
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't looked healthy. So, we'll see. But I do expect that ground and pound for sure.
I mean, what you said about the luxury picks, I mean, also rings true for round 2 because, all this talent we have at wide receiver, and, we like the pick of Luther Burden. We think he's going to be a star, perhaps. He has playmaking ability. He was awesome in college. We heard, Jacobs talked about it a lot, as a guy from down there who lived down there for a time period. But with all these guys on offense, it's going to be hard to get them touches. And I'm real curious about special teams because, like Duvernay at punt return and kick return doesn't scream excitement. He'll be fine probably, but I wonder how long it's going to be. And we've seen other people back there you've seen Rome, in camp practice taking punts and stuff, but I wonder how long it's going to be until they actually put Luther Burden back there on special teams, get the ball in his hands more. I think that's something I'm looking for. Maybe
I would love to see that happen.
Yeah.
I forget where it was. Was it in our group chat with Windy City Gridiron? I can't remember, but there's a lot of all-time greats who started off with a bang on special teams before they really hit their stride as receiver. One of my favorites is Steve Smith. You put your best athletes on the field, period, and let them make a difference, make an impact. You saw it in the if you watched the Ohio State Texas game the other day, first game of the season. We're not even talking playoff game, but it was a huge game. Obviously, Texas, which was ranked number 1 at the time, on the road against the defending national champs, and who'd they have back there returning a punt at one point? Jeremiah Smith, who is arguably, I think, even universally touted as the best player in college football as a sophomore, returning punts in a game. So I feel like you said, we've got kind of just a spoil of riches back there at receiver. Get Luther Burden on some kick returns or punt returns and see what he can do. I'm with you. I do like Duvernay. I think he's a solid, if not unspectacular player. But Burden is special with the ball in his hands. If he's not going to get a ton of touches on offense, put him back there. I would love to see that. I'm disappointed that the depth chart says Duvernay, both of them, right? I would love to have Burden open the ear up. But at the end of the day, if they're getting him in on offense, making some plays here and there, I'm excited.
And, we should say when we have these concerns about, certain areas on the field and the injuries and stuff, I feel like, we're still way ahead, even with these concerns, way ahead of where this team was a couple of years ago. I mean, you look around that offense at the skill positions and just unbelievable riches we have on this team now. Like we've said it so many times, if Caleb can't succeed with that kind of talent around him, 4 guys on the O-line who should all be very good. We think 3 to 4, depending on how Jonah bounces back, and then we'll see from Braxton. And with Ben Johnson calling the plays, how's it ever going to work? He's got so much talent around. The back end of the defense is great. We have concerns about edge rusher, obviously, and we'll get to where we've fallen behind on that over the last week. But, they did some things to shore up the interior of the D-line, like you said earlier. So I think even with all of these concerns that we have, and they're valid concerns, I just feel so much more confident, as a fan, because of who we have in that head coaching role. And I don't know if you saw this. I'm going to put this on the screen. And not just that, but I mean, D coordinator too. But
right.
The Athletic had a poll that they took of executives and NFL coaches.
Yeah, I did.
There were 31 of them that they got to vote in this poll. And the question was, who are the 3 best offensive play callers in the NFL? And Ben Johnson was number 3 with 14 of the 31 votes. The only people ahead of him was Kyle Shanahan with 18 and Sean McVay with 25 votes. O'Connell was 4th with 8 votes. I mean, the fact that we have a guy with that much respect around the league, an offensive guy, Bryan, is just, it's like finally. And then not only that, but then we got Dennis Allen, who has a long track record of being a great defensive coordinator in this league. I don't think the Bears, in basically since, we're the same age, I can only remember the tail end of the Ditka years, but like, I'm not old enough to remember when Buddy Ryan was here. I guess for the most part in my lifetime, I don't think we've ever had a coaching staff where I have this much confidence on both the offense and defensive side of the ball, even
Yeah.
close.
No, same here. I agree. And it's the little nuggets we hear from the Dan Roshar, the offensive line coach, who is not even talked much about in his constructive criticism of Braxton Jones and the left tackles, midway through camp. That just sticks out. Obviously, the Antoine Randall and what he does, obviously on practice field, but also on game day. Anthony Harris or Al Harris. Al Harris. I always mix his name up. Al Harris, and right before we even had a practice, he was already reaching out to Tyreek Stevenson. He was reported to do that work, and he's got they have track records, right? They've got proven track records in this league already, and so now I'm with you. That's what I'm saying. Dennis Allen as well. He's a proven coach, and he's got his guys alongside him too. I'm with you. Like, there are no excuses. Our worst linemen last year are all long gone. Braxton was one of our best, and he is our weakest link this year.
Yeah.
And we've got the same weapons, but more. We've got a better play caller. So better defense, which I think is going to matter. Like, we're, as you said, for that first game, we could not stop the run. That was our biggest Achilles heel. We couldn't stop the run. So we basically couldn't stop drives because they could just keep pounding the rock, getting first downs against us. And that's going to be a huge factor this year. And did you pay attention to the team captains?
Yeah.
So I was pretty surprised that Grady Jarrett got nominated. Now, I can understand it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him step up as a run-stopping defensive tackle and obviously provide some pass rush from time to time. But that's going to be key. If we can't stop the run, it doesn't matter. Like, if we're in a shootout every week, then, we might win 50% of the games. But the coaches are going to be huge, but obviously the additions we made as well. I think we're now top 10, I want to say top 5 or 6 most highest spending team league wide for our whole roster. And that's not been the case with us. No. So, things are shifting. We've got one of the highest head coaches. This list wouldn't be too far off when it comes to highest paid coaches either. Yeah. Ben is close to the top. I think he's top 10 for sure. So, things are changing. Now it's to be seen if it changes on the field, Ryan. You're right. Like, that's the kicker. Yeah. But I'm going to enjoy it, man. I am curious. It's first weeks, and we're going, kind of fluid. What is your week 1 ritual when it comes to, or routine, or do you have one when it comes to watching games week 1? Obviously, it's different because normally they're Sunday afternoon. This is Monday prime time. But what are some things, if we were going to be a bug on the wall, watching Ryan the game Monday night, what are you going to be doing?
Well, hold on a second. I just took you off the stage. Sorry, I was trying to take the picture off the screen. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like to grill, if it's a noon game for sure. This is going to be different because it's a work day and it's a night game. I'll be total meatball in the morning. I'll be playing bear down, as I'm getting ready for work in the morning for sure. I might put the Super Bowl shuffle on at some point on YouTube. But, I'll have some cold beers ready to go for sure. Usually my dad comes over. We watch most of the games together. We usually go to a game every year. We're going to the Saints game this year. Figure that should be a win.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know that I have something every year that I do really routinely. It's just usually beer, grilling, watching with family. That's about it. What about you?
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So I don't do too much grilling on game day, just because that's a lot of prep, a lot of work for me with a big family. We both got plenty of kids and whatnot.
Yeah.
But matter of fact, ironically enough, I am grilling this Monday night.
Oh, okay.
My sister-in-law, it's her birthday, and what she wants nothing other to do is to watch the game and bear down. So she requested my homemade burgers. So I'm making some burgers and on the grill, and but typically, man, I'm making my fresh homemade salsa, which I'm entering into a contest later this month. I'll have to let you know how it goes.
Nice.
It's pretty awesome. It's called Pico de Brio.
It's amazing.
But yes, it's super good, real fresh and healthy. So I'll do that, but I don't really go out all game every week. I do always have good beverage. And past couple years, family have come over to watch, my sister-in-law, my nephews, and just kind of watch and drink some beer. And we always, week one, we'll do something special. We'll usually try a different recipe of something. We did like slider sandwiches, like chicken smothered sandwiches. It was delicious. You got to have some good food if you're watching football all day. Wings are a classic staple. We do chili. That's probably our most constant week to week meal is chili, because football, especially if you're watching all day, it's like 2 meals easily, sometimes 3 if there's like a England game on or something like that. So chili, you can just go back to, get yourself another bowl, and you got to be eating, especially as we're getting up there in age. You got to be hydrating and eating, or else we're going to be feeling it the next day.
Beer, water, back and forth.
And Absolutely. Food. You can't forget to eat. But yeah, my salsa is a pretty regular and chili, I would say, throughout the year. But
I really want to try this Pico de Brio. You might have to send me some in the mail.
Okay, yeah,
just ship me some.
We'll figure it out for sure, bro. I will say I was disappointed. I know you were too, that we didn't get together this training camp. We weren't able to get tickets. So we were trying to swing something, a Bears Over Beers, in Bourbonnais. Obviously, I'm not in Bourbonnais anymore. Something like that would have been super fun. But we weren't able to conjure up those tickets. And so we'll figure something else out. And if and when we're together, I will make you some salsa, bro. And the good thing is it's huge. It's a huge batch.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a crowd pleaser and it's gone, which is somewhat surprising because it's so massive. But usually I'll have leftovers and I'll put them in omelets the next day. It's divine, bro. But yeah, it's good stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, it would be quite the gathering with all the daughters the two of us have to get these families together. We will be bringing the testosterone because other than us, 7 daughters. This is the girl dad pod right here.
Yeah. We get our bro time Wednesday nights with you guys.
That's right.
Ryan and I together get our bro time. Otherwise, we are surrounded by females and we love them.
Yeah, we do.
We wouldn't trade them for anything. They complete us.
For sure.
We need some bro time. So cheers to bros. And cheers to daughters.
Absolutely. All right, Brian, let's revisit. I got the screenshot ready here.
Let's do it.
Our show we did back, over 3 months ago now when the schedule was released. And, that's the wrong one. Hold on. live podcasting here. Give me a second here. Let me find the right one. Oh, where is it? Is this the one? Yes, this is the one here. Okay. Let me get this one off the screen. There it is. So there's a screenshot from Bears Over Beers back in, was that May when the schedule came out? And we had Jacob on that show with us too. But as you look down the line for each game, the second winner loss was Bryan's prediction for each game. And the final one was my own. And you can see for these first 3 games, and I actually still feel very much the same here, I think, even with everything that's transpired. I had us winning versus the Vikings, losing at Detroit, and then winning against the Cowboys and the Raiders. You had the same thing. Anything you would redo there? I think the Raiders are going to be better than I was thinking then. But I still think we win that one. It's going to be like a home game out in Las Vegas.
I still think we split with the Packers, but I might switch my wins and losses with them.
Oh, I was talking just the first 4 games. But yeah, with the rest of the schedule,
Oh,
your Green
sorry.
Bay prediction?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
went through the whole schedule. No, all 4, I like it. I still like it. It's crazy that Jacob called that he thinks we're going to beat the Lions in Detroit. I could see it. That's going to be a freaking awesome game, man, with Ben Johnson
Yeah.
returning. If we're all the way healthy, like that could be – I could see it. But no, I would keep the same 4 there. Gosh, I want to beat the Commanders, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, gosh, man, the rest of the week, you know what? I think we could beat the 49ers.
Yeah, I do too. Now, yeah, looking at this, I think both of us had us winning at the Commanders. Jacob has losing. My thought process was what a downer that game was last year. This whole team's going to be out for revenge, and coming off a bye week, extra
Off of
prep
bye
time.
week. And normal coaches who are good at their craft, they come out stronger from a bye week. But we've had Matt Eberflus and Matt Nagy, and we're used to, puttering in after the break and embarrassing ourselves. That's not going to be the case with Ben. So I like our chances still there. The Bengals are getting an awful lot of noise. I don't see it though. Still, obviously they've got firepower, but definitely not on defense. I don't see it, and their offensive line, I'm not sold on still.
Yeah, that was one that was kind of rethinking just because of the schedule, like at Baltimore and then the next week at Cincy. We were all 3 of us had wins at the Bengals. It's going to be a really tough game.
Yeah,
That's one I've been rethinking here and there. I'm not. I'll stay with the win right now. We'll see how the season develops. I do think the Bengals, after that kind of a downer of a year last year, where they 9-8. You said it, firepower. I'm a big fan of Joe Burrow. I'm, really, really curious how they bounce back this year. But we'll see. Have you seen that quarterback show, by the way, on Netflix?
No.
He's just a super likable dude.
Yeah.
Very authentic. Made me like him even more watching that.
How about Jared Goff?
Goff is too, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool to see Ben on there as well. But I mean, Kirk Cousins just a weirdo. Yeah. I mean, he's likable because he's goofy, but
like your neighbor.
He's a goofy guy. He is. He's like the accountant down the street or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's solid. Check it out. I haven't seen the receiver. I haven't seen that series, but quarterback's solid. But yeah, I mean, I'll be watching the Bengals because I've always liked Joe Burrow, and that show made me like him more. So we'll see. But yeah, I do think the Bears match up well with them. It's on the road. It's gonna be tough. Yeah, Giants at Vikings we had as a loss all across the board. Beating the Steelers, God, I hope so, especially if Aaron's playing. Got to get some revenge there. At Philly's going to be tough. We were all losses on that. We were kind of back and forth on thinking we're going to split with the Packers. Do they win up there again or at home? We'll see. Bryan, I'll wait till later in the year on this, but I might have a chance to go to that game. I haven't decided if I'm going to or not. At Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
Shoot, bro.
The problem with it is it's the day after one of my daughter's birthdays. And I'm not going to leave town on her birthday, and it's a noon game. Now, if that game gets flexed back to like 3 or Sunday night, then I will go.
Our kids are still young.
True. She probably it's my oldest.
After bedtime, 9 o'clock, get a flight. It's like 10 o'clock at night. You'll be good.
I mean, it would be a drive for me. I don't know what it is, a 5-hour drive, something like that.
Oh, it's not bad then. Yeah, bro. You could leave after bedtime, check in, get some sleep, wake up, and go.
Yeah. And not only that, this is a buddy of mine whose company has a luxury box there. So it'd be all you can eat, food and beer. Never been to Lambeau. It's the birthday situation is what's complicating it. But I told him, like, reserve the 2 seats in that box right now, just in case.
Have them reserve 3.
Yeah, there you go. Fly up. But I said, for sure, if they flex it back to like 3:25 or the Sunday night, I'll for sure go. If it stays at noon, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, I mean, I could leave really early in the morning too. We'll see. But I could see us winning that.
And I could see it being flexed. Like if at that point, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If we have won 8 games already, Packers, assuming they're right around that ballpark, first game of the rivalry in that season, I could see that one being flex for sure. That'll be fun, man. Good for you. Hope you
we'll
can make
see.
it.
I'll provide some updates as the season goes on. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think the rest of this, it's tough. It's really tough down the stretch. You know, we better beat the Browns, but then the Packers, those will probably split one direction. We don't know where the Bears will get the win. We'll see.
Right.
Like you said it, we could maybe win at San Francisco. We all across the board had that as a loss back in May. But, you know, we came in at 11-6. Jacob was 10-7. When people ask me for my record prediction, I've generally been saying 10-7. I've been saying like somewhere like 9 to 11 wins is the sweet spot. And I've been mostly going with 10-7. We'll see.
I mean, first of all, technically you actually said 11-6. So let's just let the record show that you need to start telling people what you actually said instead of lowballing.
I'm being dishonest, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You are. But I mean, I'm not a fan of preseason power rankings and schedule stuff because you never know. Like you talked about the Browns. The Browns have some exciting young pieces. I actually really like their draft this year. Quinshawn Judkins aside, they have another running back who nobody's talking about that could end up being the starter all season for them and do well, who broke all sorts of records in the SEC last year and is only 20 years old. They've got 2 quarterbacks behind a Joe Flacco, who, remind you, a couple years back when we played against the Browns, Flacco sliced us up, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He is a solid quarterback, and they've got some weapons there. I do think they need another receiver to really hit the next level, but they got a tight end in the 3rd round that I'm really high on to pair with David Njoku. And they have Myles Garrett, who is arguably the best pass rusher in the league. They have a solid defense. I think that could be a loss. That's the thing is like any given Sunday in the NFL, we're talking about professional athletes. If they click and the coaches do well and young players step up and they stay healthy, like you never know. And so, you know, barring everything, you know, going our favor when it comes to health, I think we should at least be at 10 wins. But I think we could be at 12 or 13, and I wouldn't be surprised. But it really all depends, you know, how Caleb progresses. And we've seen and done this before with quarterbacks and predictions and things not going our way. But I'm excited, man. You know, I'm tempted to 06. Tempted to, you know, get on a live stream with you Monday night, bro. I mean, that'd be fun. But you know, we'll be suffering through the workday on Tuesday. That's the one thing I don't like about it, especially on the East Coast. I know you guys are Central. That'd be the nice thing about living West Coast is so much earlier.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you can't just go to bed right when it ends either. You're watching or listening to post game. You know, you're seeing what people are saying online. You're reading recaps. I'm up like 2 hours after the game.
If there's any tradition for me, it's me pissing my wife off in bed. It's all dark in our room, but my phone is blaring with the post game press conferences of the locker room players and the coach. And I'm into all that. Yeah, you're right. It's going to be a long night.
Let's real quickly, Brian, let's talk about Green Bay before we go off the air and the acquisition that everyone's been talking about. And me and you have not talked much about this. I don't really know where you're at. We're going to find out live on air with the Micah Parsons acquisition. Now, obviously we saw the rumors for a long time, but I kept telling myself there's no way Dallas would trade their best player to the team that has had their number for years in conference. It has ended their season in the playoffs. Like that can't happen, right? They wouldn't be that stupid. And then it actually happens. And you're thinking, you know, we think this whole NFC North is going to be very good, but I did have the Packers as last. I did think roster wise, top to bottom, they arguably had the weakest roster. But then you add an edge rusher like Micah Parsons, and then I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. You know, they're going to be on the rise. Then I talked myself off the ledge a little bit for some reasons I'll mention here in a little bit. There's the issues with his back still. You know, more's been coming out about that. I mean, where are you at on this, Brian?
I think bar none, the Packers fleeced the Cowboys in that trade. They got 2 first-round picks. They got younger. They traded an older player, got a younger one back who's in his prime. Absolutely a pass rush specialist. I don't think he's as much of a run threat. one of the first things that came to mind was Khalil Mack. Like it felt like that sort of that magnitude of a deal.
Yeah.
But remember, we didn't win with Camille. We won. We didn't win the games against the Packers when he had the most dominant game I've ever seen. We lost that game.
Yeah.
And we did not win a playoff game with Khalil Mack, who I think is by far at that point was a better player than Micah Parsons is right now. By far. He was an all-around demon on the edge. Khalil Mack was. Micah is a stud pass rusher, but he can get nullified, and he often is when you run at him, and he's got the back issues. So I think Green Bay fleeced the Cowboys, and for all the reasons you mentioned, why would you trade to a team that just knocked you out the playoffs and clearly has your number in conference? Like, it doesn't make sense. And I'm not big on Kenny Clark. I was really high on him last year, and he just looked washed, as the year progressed. So I don't think he's a big difference. But I think it's a good trade for them, man. He's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
But do I think that overcomes Jared Love's lack of elite skills? Just like Trubisky, Mac did not. Do I think it overcomes their lack of talent in the back seven? No, I do not. So I think it raises, like, it was one of those, it reminds me a little bit of the Lions when they got Gibbs and Montgomery. It's kind of like they doubled up on positions. They've got Rashawn Gary. They already spent a first round on Lucas Van Ness. They've got edge rushers. They got a stronger one now. But, if we just pay attention to him, I think we'll be okay. I do think it increases we already were the best division in football.
Yeah.
I think we for sure are now. And I think it makes them better, but I'm not quite as worried. Again, this goes down to Ben Johnson at the helm. He knows what he's doing. At least we hope so as a head coach. But Cowboys are the biggest losers here.
Yeah.
For sure. And I applaud the Packers for making that move. You get a young player and offload an old, player, and I think it's worth it. They don't pick well in the first round anyway, it seems. So,
yeah. I mean, it's. I guess the week 3 game against Dallas, our odds have gone up. I do think, but yeah, I agree with you. It's going to certainly help them right away. They're going to have a better team this year, maybe another win or two for sure, just because of getting him. But like I mentioned, I started to talk myself off the ledge a little bit because I thought back to how many years did we have a defense full of great players?
Yeah.
A Hall of Fame generational middle linebacker like him, right, and Ray Lewis, the best middle linebackers of that generation.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of our defense. And all-pro linebacker next to him and Lance Briggs, and an all-pro borderline Hall of Famer and Charles Tillman. And yet, with all that talent, Brian, as well as I do, we usually lost those games against the Packers. And the reason was they had the better quarterback. It always comes down to quarterback. And so if you believe that Caleb Williams will be a better quarterback long-term than Jordan Love, the Bears are going to be fine.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I've been thinking about it. And we all think as Bears fans that he's going to be better than Jordan Love.
Already is.
Yeah. Some would say already is. So if that's the case, yeah, it's going to be a problem, certainly. But we have, we don't have a defensive head coach anymore. We just put the poll up there, one of the best play callers in the league. So if anyone can figure out how to neutralize him as best as possible, at least, it's going to be our head coach. So I feel like we're in a good position to minimize the damage. As we said, I'm not clueless. I know they're going to be better with him. It does create problems for the Packers long-term, paying Jordan Love and him over $100 million a year.
Right.
This would make a lot more sense when you have a quarterback on a rookie contract. So I feel like Green Bay needs to feel like they could win a Super Bowl the next couple of seasons. Otherwise, it's probably going to start to create some cap problems. Now, I know you can move money around and stuff. But I've talked myself off the ledge. I don't think it's like a game-ending trade for them. I still think we're going to split with them this year. That hasn't changed. So.
Right. You look at how great have the Cowboys been with him.
Right. Yeah.
And you could make the comment of, how great were the Raiders before, when they had Khalil Mack, before they traded him to us. And that's the whole thing is you have to look at the whole team, and it is led by it's a quarterback driven league. Absolutely. And, I'm just not scared of Jordan Love. I'm not scared of those weapons. And I'm certainly not scared of that defense. And so you talk about, the back seven, we can hold up for, and another thing, we're not going to get too deep into analytics here, but when you talk about time to throw, getting the ball out quickly, Caleb has improved so far when it comes to the preseason, his ability to get the ball out quickly. That's what you need to do to neutralize a pass rush. And they don't have a back seven to really stop us from doing that. We've got talent all the way across the board. We got 4 or 5 receivers deep, and another 2 tight ends deep, running backs that can get open and swift in the backfield. Like you said, I trust Ben. And I'm not too worried about it. I do think it made them better, like you said, but it was a position that they already had a strength at, if you ask me. If you would have talked about getting a Patrick Surtain, I'd be pretty worried. Someone like that. They got rid of hire Jair Alexander, and they're they got some no-name corners, and we got weapons, man. I'm not too worried about it. If Ben can get Caleb to get the ball out quickly and run over Micah. But his back's gonna be curious to me if that's healthy.
I mean, plus it also helps us just personally that we don't play Green Bay until late in the year. Was it week 14? Right. So, I mean, we hope our offense is humming by then and we've got some things figured out. So it'll be fun. It's going to be a fun season. We're all looking forward to it. I hope next week, Bryan, when we get on the air, we're celebrating a week 1 victory.
Bro, can you believe it, though? Next week, we're going to talk about a game that happened.
Yeah.
Next week. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
One final cheers.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching tape again, man. Watching the L22, coming on here, talking about it. Gonna be fun.
Yeah, it will.
All right. So, hey, we appreciate all of you who are joining us either live or on demand, podcast feed as well. Make sure you hit subscribe. The like button here on YouTube helps us a lot. Drop us a comment. Let us know again if you want to be able to get your hands on one of these fancy Bears Over Beers pint glasses, or even the shirt that you see Bryan wearing, and we can make those available if there is demand. So again, tweet us at Bears Over Beers. Let us know if you'd like those, or drop a comment here. Subscribe to the channel on all the podcasting feeds and here on YouTube. We're going to have just a great rotation of shows going up every single day. Bill Zimmerman dropped one with David Kaplan earlier today here on Second City Gridiron. So if you haven't seen or listened to that, make sure you do when you're done watching this. Taylor Dahl's obviously always doing great stuff. We got Mason West. We got Jacob Infante. We got the boss man, Lester and JB, Mac and Reed show. I mean, we're just adding to the talent all the time here on Second City Gridiron. So yeah, man, stay tuned. We got big things ahead this season, and hopefully it'll be a little more positive than last season was, Bryan.
Yeah, that was a little depressing last year, but
the first year on the show, and then it was like loss after loss.
Why are we doing this? Yeah, but yeah, I mean, either way, I'm excited to be here with you guys. Excited to be here with you, and we have a lot to look forward to. I think it starts week 1, so let's do it. Bear down.
Bear down. We will see you guys next Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Central. Let's celebrate a dub. Go Bears. See you guys next time.